Okay guys, coming up next, I'm gonna go over 3 of my favorite citrus perfumes. We're still in the heat of summer and I wanna go over some of what I consider more citrusy, light, but still fragrances that are gonna last in your skin all day. You're gonna get good performance and you're gonna smell fresh and refreshing. So find out what they are coming up next. Welcome back everyone to Joel the Nose, and here we are of course at Osme Perfumery in Miami, and today's video, as you saw at the outset, is going to be about 3 of my favorite citrus perfumes, perfect for summer. So it's not a typical summer video, this is more really specific genre citrusy fragrances. And let's get right into this. The first one I'm going to talk about is from a house that everyone knows for the original fragrance, and that is 8 and Bob. 8 and Bob, the original classic, which is a very good summer fragrance. It's also more lighter, more of a almost what I consider an entry-level niche fragrance. But if you want to step it up and you want to go something that really reminds me of being in the Mediterranean, the Italian coast, or somewhere just in another world away on vacation, this is Cap d'Antibes, obviously a location named after a location, Mediterranean. And Cap d'Antibes, what I love about this is, if you look at the notes, it's not just typical citrusy summer fragrance. It has notes like violet, it has birch, it has violet leaf. I love violet leaf. That to me personifies classic French perfumery, which 8 and Bob is a French house. And it has that kind of a powderiness, which gives it an ode to the past. So when I feel like I'm wearing Cap d'Antibes, it's just, to me, a unique citrus getaway. I feel I'm literally just projected over to the Mediterranean, and I'm in the coast, and I've got just fruit and greenery around me, and just, again, if you like 8 and Bob, a lot of people, I think, unfortunately, that know this house, they know maybe some of the newer fragrances like Agneta, which is really great, and they just released 2 new ones, which I'm going to be talking about soon. I've always enjoyed it, but try Cap d'Antibes if you want a citrusy but different, unique fragrance from a typical one. Next, and I always, don't always, but I sometimes butcher this one because it's newer to me and I haven't known it as well from a lot of the other Parfums de Marly, but this is Perseus. And this is one of their newer fragrances, and of course, look at that, it comes in that orange bottle. If you look at this one, I'm sorry. Okay, if you look at this one, and you look at the notes, again, you're gonna think typical, maybe citrusy fragrance, but I'll read a couple of the notes from you here. You have bergamot, grapefruit, blackcurrant, vetiver, pineapple, green mandarin, geranium, dry woods, cashmere wood, and an ambergris accord. So what I like about this one is it's a unique mixture of both citrusy but also very woody base notes that give it this kind of texture, a rich texture of lighter at the top, but then darker, more dense at the bottom. And sometimes in my experience, that combination can be a little bit too much of a juxtaposition. It can be a little bit too harsh between top and bottom, but this one is not that way. To me, it just blends seamlessly. It's a nice, again, composition from top to bottom. It's fresh, it's light. Of course, that grapefruit, I love, there's a real burst of grapefruit when you initially smell it, which is just fresh. It feels like, if you ever cut into a grapefruit, here in South Florida and Miami, we have them everywhere, grapefruit trees, and I grew up with them in my yard, and we had pink grapefruit, which is my favorite. It's a little bit sweeter. And when you cut into the skin with a knife of a grapefruit or an orange, and you get that zest that pops out, that juice, the spray, that's what this smells like. So if you want that fresh, zesty, delicious, long-lasting, and then in that great woody dry down, Perseus from Parfums de Marly is something you should get your nose on. And then last but not least, this is one of the newer fragrances. I've talked about this in some other videos recently and also on my Instagram. But from Ramon Monegal, the Spanish house, of course, is 10 fresh notes. And I know, again, I've talked about this as being one of my favorite new releases, but this is also in my list as far as favorite citrusy fragrances. I mean, I don't even know, you could go look it up, but this has essentially 10 very fresh notes, including grapefruit. I believe there's some mint in there. There's definitely peach. I love peach. Again, to me, peach reminds me of kind of old school French perfumery from the 50s and 60s when that was a more popular note in women's fragrances. So, but the peach here is not that over cloying, over like too dominant type smell. It's in there blended very well, along with the other just very, very bright citrusy. But what I like about this one again also is, despite all the fresh notes, this is not your typical freshie. This is very substantive. And I feel when I wear this, it actually gives me this unique kind of, for me, masculine on my skin effect. So it gives me both freshness and masculinity, meaning I like wearing this, for example, now if I go to court, if I have to wear a suit, if I have to dress up, especially in the summer, this just emits this kind of very, you know, like strong, masculine smell for me. It'd be interesting to get some viewpoints from women who have worn this to see if they get that kind of similar feel, but in a more feminine side when they wear it. Needless to say, Ramon Monegal is just such a great house, and the price point on this for 100 milliliter is around $150, $160. So they've come in really, really well priced, especially with everything being so expensive nowadays. So that's another reason I think this is a great fragrance to try if you like citrusy notes. And in fact, let me just pull up the notes real quick here. So I can tell you some more of the ones that are in here, but because I don't want to get out of this video with saying that. So it's got lime, grapefruit, bergamot, jasmine, peach, cassis, which is a great green note, galbanum, oak moss, vetiver, and musk. So that vetiver gives it that kind of like hay-like base grounding effect that with the cassis, again, has a very earthy feel to this. And excellent, excellent, excellent new fragrance. One of my favorite new releases, as I've kind of mentioned before. So there you have it, 3 of my favorite citrusy fragrances, especially right now during this really warm weather. Great fragrances for you to check out, men and women, love them for both. And anyways, let me know what you think if you've tried these. I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you guys as always for your support. Thank you for watching. Peace, love, and perfume.